Hi, I'm Greg Crawford with the Friday News Dump, brought to you by World News Trust. Just when you think that the evil psychopaths on the dark side of the aisle in Congress have hit the wall when it comes to staggering stupidity, by Jesus, they kick out the jams, pull out the stops, and go full bore, pedal to the metal, batshit crazy. I'm referring, of course, to the latest circus in the House of Clowns, Representatives. Yes, there's the fact that the Republicans are overjoyed at the prospect of shooting themselves in both feet by shutting down the government in order to defund Obamacare, but we'll get to that in a minute. House Republicans began their slow-motion swan dive into the sidewalk by slashing funding for food stamps by $40 billion. Now, something like 1 in 7 Americans rely on SNAP, or the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, in order to keep their children fed. And the vast majority of those dependent on food stamps live in red towns, in red counties, in red states. Owsley County in Kentucky is the poorest county in the country. Half the population desperately needs food stamps just to get by. This county is 98% white and 81% Republican, which means that more than 3/4 of these people voted for the black-hearted bastard that is literally taking the food out of the mouths of their children. And while their children go hungry because of a seething furnace of malice they elected, happily cutting their already meager food budget, they'll probably vote for Hal Rogers again. In 2010, Rogers voted against raising the minimum wage. Now, half his constituents live below the poverty line, and Rogers is working hard to keep them there. Yes, sirree, Bob, now that's what I call representing your peeps. Go figure. This doesn't say much for the collective intelligence of a county that consistently re-elects a contemptible jerk who would destroy their lives just to make a political point. But it should clearly demonstrate, even to Tea Party trolls with room temperature IQs, that Republicans in the House of Representatives don't give a rat's ass how hard their lives are, or that they work 3 jobs just to say 10 cents above the poverty line. No, House Republicans are obsessed with the 0.0002% of food stamp recipients that might be robbing the government of $135 a month. Not surprisingly, these same Republicans aren't the least bit concerned about corporate factory farms that regularly defraud the government out of billions of dollars in subsidies every month. If there is any justice in the world, this hateful and malicious vote will cost the Republicans big time at the polls next year. Oh, but justice has been in short supply lately. And then there's the granddaddy of incomprehensible mind-benders. The brain-dead teabaggers in Congress are bound and determined to see to it that those working poor that cannot afford health insurance continue to be deprived of affordable health care. Never mind that each and every one of these sanctimonious scumbags enjoys premium health care at taxpayer expense. The people that they pretend to represent are not deserving of any health care if it is to be subsidized by the government. Yes, the same government that is subsidized by our tax dollars should not be allowed to offer assistance to those forced into dire financial straits by failed Republican economic policies. You see what I mean about mindbenders? Oh, but it gets better. So resolute are these vermin in their deranged quest to kill the Affordable Care Act that they are perfectly willing to cripple the government by shutting it down, even to the point of forcing it to default on its debt payments, thus risking the full faith and credit of the United States. The daily functions of essential agencies will grind to a halt, and the people most hurt by this monumental stupidity will be those least able to weather this savage assault on common human decency. The sadistic sequester has already done irreparable harms to millions of Americans, but now the teabaggers want to pick a fight over raising the debt ceiling just so they can eliminate funding for Obamacare. But that's a price Republicans think we should be happy to pay, so they can stay ideologically pure. They are screeching that Obama should not refuse to negotiate. They conveniently forget that in order to negotiate, both sides have to compromise, and the teabaggers quite proudly refuse to even consider compromising their precious principles. So they expect Obama to do all the compromising, and they should get their own way. Here's a newsflash for you, you dirtbags. Malice and mendacity are not principles. They are self-destructive mental aberrations. Now, Republicans have no interest in governing, and they care nothing for the plight of hardworking Americans. They are mean-spirited, self-centered people whose pompous political posturing threatens the entire nation. They are far more concerned with obstructing any legislation that might benefit ordinary Americans, and with pandering to the psychopaths running Wall Street, multinational corporations, and the world's economy into the ground, all for the profit of a few and to the detriment of the rest of us. It is time to take them down before they do more damage than we can ever hope to repair.